I'm Tim Herrera with the Sacramento County Office of Education, here with another Teacher of the Year profile. And our teacher is Cynthia Guzman, who is also with the Sacramento County Office. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
So tell us where you teach and tell us what you teach.
I teach at Leo A. Palmater. As you mentioned, it's a program part of Sacramento County Office of Education. I teach 8th grade students with emotional disturbance and sometimes some 7th graders as well.
Okay. So explain for someone who doesn't know, what's it like to work with this student population?
My student population is unique because they're referred to our program due to sometimes displaying behaviors that are seen as intolerable in a typical class setting. So we focus not only on academics, but also behavior and social emotional learning in our class.
So tell me how you strike that balance as a teacher of that student population, because you really need to teach them the curriculum, but at the same time you're working with them to make sure that they're behaving properly.
Yes, definitely, and I like to include them in that process. So we do a lot of goal setting for our academics, but also for their behaviors, and a lot of self-reflecting, so they are a part of their goal setting and a part of coming up with interventions to meet those goals and become successful.
Explain how that works. Explain the process of working with a student like that and setting up those interventions and working with them so that they know what the expectations are of their behavior.
Of course. So I'm lucky to have a great team behind me as well. We get together, so that includes the behavior management technicians, our school psychologist, the principal, or any other staff interested or that has that works with our students. We get together and kind of, figure out what are the students' needs, and then we come up with some interventions ourselves, and we look at what kind of things our students like to do, so to kind of motivate them and incentivize them for their goals. But then I also like to present this to the student and then also get their input. So for example, sometimes I could come up with all these great ideas and great interventions, and my student tells me, all I want to do, Miss Guzman, is to go play basketball. So I take that into consideration. I say, okay, well then if you're able to meet this behavior goal or complete X, Y, and Z assignments, we could go play a game of horse or go into the gym for 10 minutes. And they're always the ones that come up with the best plans for themselves. So I always like to include them in that process.
So if they basically come up with their own reward, for lack of a better word, then that's part of your process.
Yes, of course. So they come up with their own reward, but they also tell me what things, interventions work for them or not. So some students like us to guide them through their coping skills, and some just like to take space. So having that input from them helps us figure out what are their needs, instead of us just, what's the matter, what's wrong, how can we help you? Some of them already have some self-coping skills, and we want to make sure we're not overstepping and letting them grow as an individual.
So how does that obviously helps with the behavioral process?
Yes.
Makes them part of it.
Yes, it definitely makes them a part of it, and also accountable for their own actions. So it's not put on us, it's on them. This is your goal. It's obviously for you to improve, and how do you want to reach that goal? And also, when they do reach those goals, it makes them more proud, and what we want them to do is be able to set these goals and feel that intrinsic goodness, so that at one point it's not about the rewards, it's just about how it makes them feel, and how succeeding and achieving goals is something we're proud of.
And your students have individual education plans?
Yes, so all of my students are in special education.
So you not only have to take into consideration their behavior, but also where they are academically, and really kind of meld the two together.
Definitely. So my students all come with individualized education plans, and unfortunately a lot of them are also below grade level for a lot of their academic performances. So I also have to find accommodations or modifications or just scaffolds within the classroom to help them feel successful in their learning, because sometimes that is what triggers some of their behaviors, is that they feel frustrated with their learning. So I have to help change their mindset into a growth mindset, and that means that they'll keep on persevering, and if they're struggling, teach them that's just a part of the learning process. We all struggle, but it's just how much input you put to just persevere and get through it.
And you have to work with each individual student to see where they are at that time, and kind of, each one is at a different pace.
Yes, definitely. So I am lucky to have a small class, and I am able to focus on each student individually. They all work at their own pace, and I have to meet all of their needs. But luckily, I have a paraeducator with me, and we are able to kind of distribute the help that we provide for them.
So tell us what motivated you to be a teacher. Why?
Okay. I have a sister with special needs. My sister Natalie has Angelman syndrome, and seeing her grow up, and I loved being her little teacher while we grew up. She also participated in SCOE programs through her early education. So I saw the value that what a teacher has. So my sister learned a lot from her teachers and her in-home programs, and that just motivated me to want to help other students with special needs, or just other children in general.
So you knew early on that the teaching was for you.
Yes, definitely. My sister was my first student, and sometimes she didn't like it. That was what I wanted to play with her. But yes, I knew very early on that I wanted to be a teacher and help other students. And the nice thing about that is that with my students, I make a personal connection with them because I kind of see my sister in them. So they all have a very special place in my heart, and they know that I care for them a lot.
And so you basically had all this training before you even went to school.
Yes, definitely. I helped my parents with my sister. Some examples is that in order to help my sister socialize at a young age, we would go to the grocery store at 6 in the morning. So my mom, my sister, and I would be grocery shopping at that time, just so if my sister sometimes yells when she's excited, and it could startle some people. So just going early in the morning grocery shopping got her used to going out in public and decreasing that behavior.
So from by the time you went to college, you already knew your direction.
Definitely. I already knew I wanted to be a teacher, and I was also already familiar with a lot of behavior interventions or even certain learning techniques, thanks to my sister.
So what does it mean to you now to be a Teacher of the Year?
It's a very great honor because, as I said, I teach not only for myself but for my sister and also for other students with special needs. So I feel that this honor isn't just for me, it's for my program as well. I work with an awesome team at Leopometer, and it feels amazing to be able to represent everyone. So I feel like even though I am the Teacher of the Year, it's not just for me, it's for my parents, my sister, and everyone I work with as well.
So for those people out there who are really unfamiliar with the special education system or programs, what are some things you want them to know about special education students?
Sometimes you have to look at what their behavior is trying to communicate. So some things that some students with special needs might be seen as a little different or odd, but what are they trying to communicate with that? And when you're able to see that, you're able to see their students' personalities come out, and you're able to help them out. So it's just really seeing what are students trying to communicate that sometimes they're not able to do in a typical way.
And a lot of people don't understand the behavior or are just really unfamiliar with the students.
Yes, definitely. So for example, with my sister, she is mostly nonverbal. She communicates mostly with gestures. So it's not that she has as many behavioral issues, it's just more, as I said, it's what is she trying to communicate. And then working with my students, they communicate sometimes with some inappropriate behaviors or something that's not seen as tolerable in a typical class setting, and you just have to see through that. What are they trying to communicate, and how can I help them communicate that more appropriately and use their coping skills?
Well, we appreciate your time, and it was nice to speak with you. We've been speaking with Cynthia Guzman, who is the Teacher of the Year for the Sacramento County Office of Education. Congratulations, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.